3 of this series. Of course, in the previous part, we took a look at how to create the work breakdown structure, which is the WBS in our Microsoft project. So in this very lesson, we shall learn how to add activities to our Microsoft project, and then also how to create the durations of our activities. And then if time permits, we shall also talk about how to create relationships that exist between our project activities. So once again, you're welcome, and if you're ready, let's dive in. So remember, we're working on the office building expansion project, and that's what we're working on up until this moment. So please, you can refer to the practice file, check the lesson 4 folder. Then the practice file we're going to be using for this exercise is the practice test schedule. That is the Excel document that you have in that folder, the spreadsheet that you have in that folder. That is the practice test schedule. So please, you need to have it open either in another screen, or you can print it out, or basically have it to be able to reference it as we journey along. So don't forget, we've created our work breakdown structure, and this is basically how our work breakdown structure looks like. So these are the various phases of our project, and then of course underneath it we also have other sub phases as the case may be. So in order to now enter the activities, we simply need to begin to type in the activities here, where you have new task for these ones that do not have work packages under it. And then for the other ones, we need to subsequently insert task in order to help us add those activities that we need to add. So basically, let's see how this goes. So under the design and engineering, don't forget, we have about 6 activities there. So in order to make it easy, usually what I do is this. If I know the number of activities that are within any particular work package or phase of my project, I simply add those number of cells to my Microsoft project in order to take care of those set of tasks or activities as the case may be. So in this case, there are about 5 activities under the design and engineering phase of my project. So in order to do that, I simply right click on the next cell, which is foundation, and then I click on insert task. So here you'll see insert task. So when I click on insert task, you can see it inserts a new task for me, so making it the second. And like I mentioned earlier on, I want to insert 5 tasks, so I repeat the process. I right click and then I click on insert again. So this is the third. Another way you can do that is to click on the insert button in your keyboard. So all you simply need to do is you arrow down to don't forget that when you're doing insert, Microsoft project inserts a task at a higher level. In other words, if I want to insert a task here, for example, I need to click on the lower cell, and then when I now insert a task, the task that I insert would come above that cell that I am clicked on. So that's also one thing you need to be aware of. So like I mentioned, another way to do this is to just hit the insert button in your keyboard. So if I hit the insert button in my keyboard, you can see it also inserts another task or it inserts a space for me to enter a task, which is exactly what you're seeing right now. Of course, don't worry if you don't see this new task label and then you're seeing that this place is open. When we begin to type in the activities, you will notice that the WBS numbering would definitely change. Okay, now we have 4 spaces now, so we also hit insert in our keyboard to insert the 5th space. So we have about 5 spaces now. So once that is complete, I begin to type in my activities. So again, if you take a look at the Excel, you will see the various activities that you have there. Number 1 is to start Okay, so I've entered the very first task, which is the task 1 that we have in our schedule. Of course, don't forget that this very task 1 is a milestone. If you take a look at the Excel, you will notice that the duration is 0 duration. So milestones have 0 durations. The reason why milestones have 0 durations is the fact that milestones are not activities per se. So they are indicators. Indicators simply means they showcase us, or they serve as signals to let us know, okay, this is exactly where we are with regards to this project. You know how you're traveling in an expressway, and then along the line you would see notifications, or you will see some signages that tell you that, okay, the next city is about this kilometers away. So that's exactly what a milestone is. So you can see it's not part of the road, but it gives you like a signal. It gives you information, or also it gives you notification as to exactly where you are, or the stage where you are in your journey. So because it's a milestone, so we need to designate it as a milestone. There are different ways to do that, but then I'm going to show you just one of the ways you can designate your activity as a milestone. So once you've typed in the activity, you double click on the activity. So if you double click on the activity, it brings up the task information for you. And then don't forget, another way you can call up this task information is in your task tab. Within your properties group, you would also see information here. So if I click on it again, it brings up my task information. So whichever way is fine. Then go to your advanced tab under the task information, and below you're going to see mark task as milestone. So you just check this box. So once you check it, it will mark the task as a milestone, and then you click on OK. So the moment we do that, if you take a look at my Gantt, you can notice that the Gantt, the symbol for this very task changes to a stone symbol. So this clearly indicates that yes, this is a milestone task, and that's exactly what is illustrated by this very symbol. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're going to enter the next activity, and the next activity is design building addition. And then the next, which is review and approve designs. And then assemble technical data for heat pump. And then review technical data on heat pumps. So I've been able to enter the activities that you have in the very first work package. So in the second phase of my project, I have 10 activities there. So again, I use the insert button in my keyboard to insert 10 spaces. I already have one here, so I'm going to insert 10 more spaces. So I hit insert, enter, insert, enter, insert, enter, insert, enter. Of course, don't forget, you can always use your right click and then also insert task, whichever one you prefer. Don't also forget that within your task tab, in your insert group, there's also a task there. So I can also insert task from there. So I can simply click on insert. So you can see it also does the same function for me. So I repeat the same process until I get 10 spaces. So I have 10 spaces now, and then I'll begin to type in the activities that you have under foundation. Okay, so once you're done with entering or typing in those information, don't forget that our begin building construction is a milestone. So again, we click on begin building construction, and then under the properties group, you click on information, and then like we did before, you go to advanced and check this as a milestone. And then also our foundation phase complete, this is also another milestone. So I click on it, and I can double click on it, and then I go to my advanced and check this as a milestone as well. Okay, good. So you can see the milestone, this also another milestone, this also another milestone, and yet another milestone. So I have about 3 milestones so far within this my project. So the next phase is the structural. So in the structure phase, there are 8 tasks under the structure phase. And then don't forget that the second task, if you take a look at the Excel, which is begin structural phase, is a milestone. So we're going to classify this as a milestone. So another way I can do the milestone is instead of me having to type out the task first and then going back again to now use the information, the task information, going to advanced and checking it as a milestone, under the task tab in the insert group, if I want to insert a task, instead of inserting a task as it is here, I can simply insert milestone. So all I need to do now is I click on milestone. So if you take a look, it gives me a portion for me to insert a milestone. And then I will now go ahead and also insert cells for other tasks. So let me quickly do that. I need to insert about 6 more spaces. So once again, you type in all the elements you have under the structure phase. And again, under our structure phase, the structure complete is a milestone. So as usual, we designate this as a milestone. So I can simply double click on it. I go to my advanced and then I check milestone and then I click on OK. Okay, so I'm done with the activities that you have under the structure phase. So next is the mechanical and electrical system. So under the mechanical and electrical system, I have 2 milestones there. So I'm going to insert 2 milestones there. So I hit on, I select the one below it. Remember, like I normally say, if you're inserting a task, it comes on the top of already existing task. So I select this lift/elevator and then I click on milestone. I repeat it again. I click on milestone because those are the 2 milestones that you have in that particular phase. So the first one is start milestone, and then the second one is finish milestone. So notice that we had the lift and elevators as part of a work package. So it simply means that underneath the lift and elevators, there are some activities we need to perform. So in our own case, there are 2 activities that we need to perform under this very work package. So you need to be careful here because things are going to get a bit technical right now. So first, let's insert the 2 tasks that we have under the lift/elevator work package. So again, I select the task below it and then I hit on insert task and I do it 2 times. So I have 2 tasks now for lift and elevators. So because these tasks are under this lift and elevators, so what I simply do is I select the 2 tasks, I hold down my shift button, click on the first one and then I arrow down and select the second one. Whichever way you choose to select it is fine. And then within my quick access toolbar, you can see I have an indent task button there. But then just in case you did not add this in your quick access toolbar, within your task tab in the schedule group, you're also going to see the indent task button there. And then of course, all you simply need to do is you can click on it. So once you click on it, you can see it makes lifts and elevators a work package, which is under the mechanical and electrical systems phase, just like we have it in our schedule. And then these are now the 2 activities that we need to enter. So under it, I enter install elevator rails and equipment, as well as install elevator cab and finishes. So next is the HVAC, and then of course under the HVAC we have about 11 tasks under it. So I'm just going to do this quickly. I do the insert enter and then I repeat it 11 times. So a quick tip, just in case you want to delete a task. Say for example, I enter more than the required number of cells, or I enter a task mistakenly. All I simply need to do is to right click on that very task, and then you can see delete task here. So you simply hit on delete. Okay, good. So we now type in the activities that you have under HVAC. So type in all the activities that you have under the HVAC. So once you finish entering all the activities, again you select all the activities under the HVAC. I'm going to be selecting all the activities under the HVAC now, and then again I indent them. Don't forget that these activities are under the HVAC, so I can choose to now indent them. Of course, there's a shortcut to this. You can hit the Alt button, hold down your Shift button, and then click on the right arrow. That's the arrow that's facing right. Another way you can do that is, if you notice, if I move my mouse to the left, it changes to a double-edged arrow. So once it changes to a double-edged arrow, I can simply click and then drag to the right, which is exactly what I have done in this case. Now, if you're not getting that if it's not very convenient for you, don't forget you can always use the indent task. So you select these items from prepare and solicit bids for heat pump up until test and balance HVAC equipment. Select all of them, and then you hit the indent button. Okay, good. So you can see HVAC is now a work package. Lifts and elevators is also a work package, and all of them are under the mechanical and electrical systems phase of our project. So the last work package in this phase is now the plumbing and electrical. So again, we're going to add the activities that you have under plumbing and electricals, and then of course from our Excel or from the practice tests schedule, we have 4 activities there. So we're just going to insert about 4 activities. So again, you select the activity below it, then in the insert group you just click on task and you do it 4 times. Okay, good. So now that we've done that, we need to type in those activities one after the other. Of course, don't forget you can always copy and paste this from the Excel if that will make it faster for you. So we select all the activities under this work package, and then as usual we indent them. Okay, so we're done with the mechanical and electrical systems phase. And don't forget, we said that this phase has 3 work packages, which are the lifts and elevators, the HVAC, and then of course the plumbing and electrical. And these are the activities that you have within these work packages. Now we get to the exterior finishes. So exterior finishes, under exterior finishes phase, we also have some work packages there, which of course includes, we have the brick, we have the roof, and then we also have the doors and windows. So we now need to add the activities that you have under these work packages. So first I need to add the 2 milestones that I have under my exterior finishes. So I select the cell below, and then as usual in my task tab in the insert group I hit on milestone. So because there are 2 milestones, I do this 2 times. Okay, so I type in the name of the milestones, which are close-in phase begins, and then also building enclosed. So under the brickwork package, we have 7 tasks there. So the first one is a milestone. So I select the task below, and then I make sure I insert the milestone, and then afterwards I now insert the other tasks that I have there, which are of course about. So I need to do this repeatedly for 6 times as it were. And then as usual, I type in the items one after the other, from assembled brick samples, which is a milestone, up until brick exterior walls. So once you've done that, you select from the first activity, which is assemble brick samples, up until brick exterior walls, and as usual you indent those activities. All right, so you can see it makes the brick a work package. Then of course for the roof we also do the same thing. There's only one activity here, so I simply insert task. And then I type in the activity, which is insulation and built up, and then I select this activity and I indent the activity. Okay, good. So you can see the roof work package right now. So far so good. We're done with the roof. So the next thing is now the windows and doors work package. So under the windows and doors work package, there are only 2 activities there. So I'm going to be inserting 2 activities under the windows and doors work package. So I select the one below it, and then I add task and add another task. Okay, so the first one is install door and window frames, while the second one is install exterior doors and windows. So once I've typed the 2, I select the 2, and as usual I indent them. So you have the doors and windows work package right now. So next is our interior finishes. So under the interior finishes, we have about 5 tasks in all. So as usual, I do my 5 tasks, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then I type in or I copy and paste from my Excel, whichever one is just fine. So the tasks are exactly at the level I want them to be. So in the interior finishes, here we have 2 milestones, and the 2 milestones we have are, we have finishes complete. So this finishes complete, we are going to designate it as a milestone. So again, under the task tab in the properties group, you click on information and then go to advanced and check this activity as a milestone. And then the second milestone you have there is building addition complete. So I click on building addition complete, go to the information, and then again under the advanced I check this as a milestone. So I click on OK. Alright, so I've designated the 2 milestones that we have under interior finishes. So next is fixtures, plumbing and lighting fixtures. So underneath this there are 2 activities there. So all I simply need to do, I click on the cell below and then I insert those 2 tasks, 1, 2. Good. And I type in the task, or again I copy and paste. So once I'm done with that, I now select the 2 tasks and I indent them. So if you notice, it makes fixtures, plumbing and lighting fixtures work package or a summary task, as the case may be. Then next is our coverings, floor and carpeting work package. So here there are 7 tasks, with the first one being a milestone. So I designate the first one as a milestone, and then the subsequent ones are tasks themselves. So again, I enter the details. So once I'm done entering the details, I select all of them. And then that's all the activities under coverings, floor and carpeting. And then I indent them as usual. So the next is the carpentry work package, and there are 2 activities under this work package. So I select the one below it and I quickly add those 2 activities, 1, 2. Okay, and then I type in the 2 activities. I select the 2 of them and then I indent. So the final one, which is the paint, only has 1 activity. So I go to the one below, and then I can, since I have already existing cells here, there will be no need to begin to add tasks now because the cells I have here are all empty. So I simply type in the activity, which is paint building, and then I select it and I can use the double-edged arrows. So I just move my cursor to the right, so you can see it turns to a double-edged arrow. I click and then I drag it right. Of course, don't forget, if this doesn't work for you, or if it's a bit complicated for you, you can always use your indent button. Okay, so we've been able to enter all our activities for this very project. Okay, so I decided to use a live project, at least to make it as real as possible, instead of just giving you a sample project that has just maybe like 4 or 5 activities. So this probably would make it, drive it home a little bit. So the point I'm trying to make is that within your project, you can have your phases of your project, and directly under the phases activities. Now there are some phases that will have some sub phases, if I may use that term. So those sub phases are what we refer to as our work packages. For example, these mechanical and electrical systems. So if you notice, it has other sub phases or work packages, and then underneath these work packages they now have their activities. The same thing also with your exterior finishes, which also has some other work packages and then also has its own activities. So in essence, you can actually have your level 1, and then you can also have level 2. Also, you can sometimes, there are even some schedules that has up to level 3 or level 4, as the case may be, depending on the complexity of your schedule. Okay, so now that we're done with entering the activities, the next thing we're now going to work on would be to enter the duration. So we're going to take a look at how to enter the duration in the next lesson. Because the duration is pretty easy, so we're going to be learning how to add the durations, and then we're going to combine it with how to add predecessors in our next lesson, which is about creating relationship that exists between our project activities. I hope this particular lesson has been very informative for you. So once again, I want to thank you for listening.